When we talk about debt, most people's reaction is that is a lifestyle that I don't want to have. Borrow one credit card to pay back another one, may become homeless anytime. But scientists actually found out there is another type of debt are way more common, very hidden, and even more destructive than actual money debt, which is mental debt. In the book Scarcity, that was published in 2013, was conducted by two professors, one from Princeton and another one from Harvard. They discovered this important topic, mental debt. So all in all, what does it mean that I borrow some mental debt and how does it feel like? You must have this experience before. Something important is about to happen that you have to bear in your mind. And it causes you cannot eat well, sleep well, or even at your kid's football game, you cannot even focus on what's happening right now. It could be a credit card that you borrowed from last month, but this month you don't have money to pay back. It could be one of your, for example, fridge is broken down. The maintenance is gonna come here tomorrow 5 p.m. Or more commonly, you have a very, very important presentation tomorrow. Or your brain capacity is to think about that one matter, that even cause you lose sleep. But imagine that's the condition you bear in. You have to juggle 15 balls in your head in the same time. Right now, there's something important, either in the family or in the work, come up to you. Can you guarantee 100% focus? In the book, it talks about our brain have a capacity that how much thing you can deal with in the same time. If there's more information need to be processed, you will feel overwhelmed. And of course, in academic term, it called your bandwidth is overload. But imagine that small thing that you need to remember take up 40 or even 60% of your brain capacity. Every morning you wake up, you start with half of the battery. How will your life will be look like? Imagine you wake up in the morning, you have only 40% of your brain capacity. But to pass today with a pretty good standard of everything you need to deal with, every person you need to talk to, every email you have to reply, with 80% of your bandwidth, what happened? The book gave an answer is when you don't have enough energy or brain capacity or bandwidth, you will start borrowing. We understand in money term, borrowing. But what about mentally? It is the table that you yet clean, and it distracts you every time you do something serious work on the table. It could be the tax return that you need to do, but you're so busy and you forget about it. It's like that important conversation you need to have with your kids. But because you are so frustrated and don't have enough energy, you choose the short fix. Just yell at the kids or beat the kids up so that they will shut up and stop bothering you. And why does it call borrowing? It's because those quick fix behavior will cause more problem, suck up more brain capacity in the long term. Right now, yes, you solve the kids, they stop crying, ask you for certain toys. But in the long term, when they grow up, they may become rebellious. They may dating someone who are terrible or hang out with a group of people that you don't want them to be together. Just like the payday loan that a lot of people participate, they borrowing in higher rate. But both authors conclude that it's the same thing for people who are very busy on time. Before we jump into the negative consequences of mental debt or what's the sign of you're in the mental debt, I want to give one note. It's in the book, they talk about mental debt happen regardless you have money or no. There's two authors writing this book. One of the author is, he made it. He earned enough money from academic. He's a professor in Harvard, well respected in the field. But what happened to him is, he always have something coming up that is due. So he have to put all the attention to that one thing and give up all other commitment with the family, commitment with the other publisher, commitment with hang out with a friend to maintain some friendship. And he is losing his life bit by bit just by this mental debt. So regardless how much knowledge or money you have, you still could have the problem. So what is the sign of it and what's the negative consequences of it? First consequences is short-sighted. To prove that, they set up an experiment in the lab. To answer certain really difficult question with a control limited amount of time. One group, they have more time than others. So there's time rich and time poor. And like you can imagine, in the beginning, the two groups, yes, because one group is under more time pressure than others, they make a little bit more mistake than the time rich group. But when the experiment going on after 30 minutes, an hour, they realize the more later they go, the time poor group making way more mistake. In the beginning, 5% mistake. In the end, 5% correct. So what happened here is the time rich group, when they finish their answer within a certain amount of time, they can take a pick and prepare for tomorrow or the next question. So does us. So today, if I wake up with half battery and I don't even have enough for today, I 100% wouldn't have enough brain capacity to think about what could have happened tomorrow. Just like you know there are gonna be a tax situations on this month, but why you cannot prepare ahead? It's because today I'm already on the borderline bankrupt. How could I think about 5 months later there's a tax return? So how can I judge? I mean the short-sighted side effect already. Is just take a look, where did you direct your attention to? What problem you focus most on? A lot of family, you can tell that their most argument within the house is meaningless detail, and they don't pay a lot of attention on the most important thing. What I mean by that? You will see family argue over, did you close the cabinet? Did you finish your water bottle? Or why you leave your socks on the sofa? Instead, people talk about, my kid is in junior high school. How can we help him ace the SAT? How can we help my kids to pick a better major so he will be benefit his whole life? And I hope this don't come off as a criticism, because this is a side effect that 100 happen when you have a mental debt. Second negative consequences is called frustrations. Remember last time that you take an exam. In the last 10 minutes, you will have a lot of questions didn't fill up yet. That kind of experience we call frustration. And a lot of people have that on a daily basis. And because we under this shortage and we are worried and we want to try our best to fill up all the holes. So what happens is we cannot deal with the situation calmly. And that frustration will cause us even more mistake. One of the studies show when parents have a way more busy day and when they deal with a lot of difficult people during the day, at nighttime they will have a way less patience to educate their kids. And the most scary part is this kind of frustration is even contagious within the people around you. For example, if in a family a mother is frustrated, it directly influences the dad or the kids. In a company, if some department is under a shortage, all the other department will get influenced directly by the one frustration department. And that's the reason why you see so many big boss or department have assistants. Why is it so important to have assistants? Just to have a human server? The answer is to deal with the meaningless details so I can have all my bandwidth on the most important issue that I need to deal with. Third side effect is you directly want something to escape. It is very common. For example, after a whole day work, you are so tired, all you want to do is go on my phone and nobody talking to me. Why? Because when you direct your attention on the phone, because how they design, because the interesting content that people publish, you are sucked into the thing. So you don't have to worry about all the 15 balls is juggling in your head. All the things that you need to worry about. Suddenly you're in the wonderland. Forget about the mental debt. Forget about the mental interest. But the sad part is when you go on your phone, you're also using your brain capacity. After you scroll for 2 hours, it's not like you feel relaxed. You feel, I finally get recharged. You will feel more drained because those escape or indulgence request way more mental capacity or bandwidth. The fourth one, which is the most scary one, if you stick to now, congratulations. This is the most important part. But because it's important, so it's hard for me to explain within this video. But in short, is if you are in mental debt, wake up half battery, you will have 0 chances to be disciplined on doing anything. Just imagine when you was younger, how easy to read a book, how easy to have an immersive experience, to even watch a movie or play some sports. But because when we grow up, our bandwidth is full of the people I need to remember, this thing I need to do, we don't have enough energy to focus. There's impossible for us to be disciplined, basically. Of course, to explain what discipline is, and we need way more knowledge, include other research paper. I probably not have time to cover in this video, but I will make a separate video in future. But that's the direct consequences. When we grow up, our parents tell us not just once that, oh, it's so simple, it's so easy to be a student. All you need to think about is study. When I was younger, I don't really understand. I said, be a student is so difficult. But when you grow up, you realize that the meaning of those sentences is not that study is easy. It's they're jealous that there's nothing else we need to worry about or disturb us to do it. And in the end, how can we decrease our mental debt? The answer is quite simple. Is borrowing is actually a habit. Every time you pick up a couple important mail from your mailbox, you don't do them immediately. You put them off. You say, I deal with them later. It's not because right now I don't have a bandwidth. It's just we are so used to short fix borrowing habits. So how could we try our best to eliminate our mental debt? The answer is do everything mindfully. When you go watch your kids' football game, just pay attention and make your kids heard. So you spend good enough time, so later on you can deal with other stuff. When you play, find a block of time of 5 hours, indulge yourself into the game. So later on when you study, you're not thinking about the boss you get beat. When you see something small, just go deal with it. For example, you hear the fire alarm is short on battery, just go exchange a battery. That will save lots of your mental bandwidth. Before you're doing work, just clean the table. Instead, move the mess to another table. But of course, it's easier to say than done. And it's very difficult to not borrow. But what I want to highlight in this video is to point it out, there is some hidden debt that everybody is taking it, but without even realize, or what's the harm of it. When you have this concept in your head, you realize this is the issue. You will come up with a solution to solve it yourself, tailor to your own life. And I really hope this video helped you. And that's all for today's video. My name is Paul. I see you next time.